We are live.
We are live.
We are live.
Did I say welcome to the main event?
Run that thing, bro. You mad?
Oh, man.
Behave before you talk about what I'm talking about, yeah?
Disclaimer.
Run that thing back. Nah, man, stay there in your corner, man. Run that thing back, fam. I don't want to hear nothing from you.
We are live, guys. I'm saying Mr. Blitztech.
Living your GS.
Joe one further to Cyber Nerds.
And welcome to the Candyman non-spoiler review. So don't worry, not going to spoil anything here. We're just going to talk about the movie. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you like these movie reviews. Watch the whole video all the way to the end because you never know what you might miss while discussing down below in the comments.
Road to 200,000 subscribers.
Wow, guys, what do you think of Candyman 2021?
Wow. Like, that's my first word about this movie. Wow. I did not see this coming. Like, I was just expecting, like, horror movie. But, the way it was shot is incredible. Like, some of the shots from this movie, Jesus Christ. Like, it was mad. Like, again, I did not see this coming for this movie, innit? Like, and I'm kind of mad because I told myself I'd go watch the first movie after watching this movie just to make sense of a couple of things, but wow, the way the story was told, sick. So mad props to the production team, the writers, like, cast, madness.
Yeah, I thought the movie was good, man. I liked lots of the stuff they did in it. I think one of the things that really stands out to me is that, like, where horror's kind of at as a genre right now, I'll talk about for me personally, it's like, I don't get excited for the slasher flicks. Do you know what I'm saying? And I felt like they took that and understood it and kind of put the gore and the horror elements. It's in the movie. It's definitely in the movie. So if you're just a horror fan and you want the slasher part, it is there. But also, they don't, like, overemphasize it. They don't dramatic. What's the word?
Dramatize.
Yeah, bruv. You know what I'm saying? They don't embellish in it as much as you would expect them to in a horror movie. Do you get what I'm saying? They also do tackle, like, bare topics like gentrification, racism, hate crimes, like what that does to a person, if that pain can be passed down through generations and stuff like that. Like, all of these topics I think were super fire and are very relevant to the Candyman story. Also, morphology and more morphology slapping man in the face, which I really loved, man. I feel like obviously the original Candyman story is there and it's like they pay a lot of good homage to it as well as expanding that and building on it in a different way. Like, what they've done for me with this movie is open up a door to a Candyman universe. Do you know what I'm saying? Where we can have Candyman stories forever. Where 20 years from now, I can tell a Candyman story, Sam can, Raven can, and they can be completely different stories in completely different places, but all derive from the same core issue. Like, for a movie to do that, yeah, like, as a reboot, I think is sick. And it's not something you see from reboots that, like, make the original better and still open a door in a good way for new things. So I thought, like, just that, for that part of it, 10 out of 10. Now the movie I thought was good, but it didn't reach the expectations I had for it as a whole, which I wouldn't even say was disappointed. I just kind of left feeling like, raw, that was good. I thought it was going to be better, but, like, the stuff it does, like, for the culture, for the movement and all that, I feel like was amazing. Do you get what I'm saying? So I love that part of it.
I want to jump on when you was talking about where the horror genre is, and this is where I feel like a lot of the stuff they've done with it, it's, instead of being a visual horror slash and all of that, it's more like an internal thing, like you're playing inside, because I remember watching certain scenes and I'm just over here, like, tweaking, like, just jumping up and down and making ooh ahs because, like, how I'm taking it. But then at times when people were having their own feedback, I was calm, I was quiet. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like it's how you're taking this horror bit, do you know what I mean? Which I felt like was super sick with it, and the comedy side of it was mad too.
It's interesting for me because obviously, like, you're talking about comedy side, and I felt like it was what was funny to me is that there was parts in the movie where everyone's laughing in
Man's
cinema.
not laughing.
Yeah.
Man's not laughing. I didn't think it was funny. And this is the thing for me. Is that like, for some people, I think this movie is gonna be a internal descent into like who you are. Do you know what I'm saying? And who you see in the mirror. And for some people, it's not that at all. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is why half the cinema were laughing and half of them wasn't. And I'm talking about half the cinema are cracking up hard and half the cinema are like plugged in. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a very weird, uneasy, like, it wasn't, I don't feel like it was uneasy for me, but for like, it was a weird atmosphere in general. Even when the movie ended, like, I was like, should we clap? I felt like clapping, but no one else was clapping, but it was like kind of a darkish ending. Like, bruv, the vibe was mad, bro. It was a mad vibe.
And I feel like, oh my God, I know Sammy haven't spoken, but it's crazy because based on what the movie's telling, based on the experience, and then you look at in the room, like, who's laughing, who's not, who's quiet, who's having the feedback. It's exactly that. And I thought that some people might not pick up on that, but it's what the movie's about. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like they've hit it on the nail, because by the audience, the feedback was there with who was for what. It's mad.
Where do I start? Because you guys have hit a lot of points, very, very good points as well.
Should have jumped in.
It's cool, but I like you guys just to hash it all out. Let me start with the negative, since you guys ain't pressing that too much. I'm going to start with like the comedy, to be honest, because like it is weird. Maybe it is, like you're saying, where a sense of where you're seeing the story being told. I just felt like, even though the comedy was good, timing was good, it just felt out of place for a movie like this being like so serious. Because there are so many times in the movie where the tone was mad, the tone was the way the story was being told, and even just the subject matter. And then suddenly they would just hit with like comedy. I was like, what? Did you just not just see what you just said? And now the tone is shifting over here. And I don't know if that's on the writing or the director, but either way, like it's so weird because the serious tones are super, super serious and it's on point. But then so is the comedy. So I was like, you're pulling both off correctly, but the mismatch is misplaced. And that's why I feel like it's not this kind of movie. Even though both were good, just not the right time. What else did I find kind of confused? There was one thing I was kind of confused about as well. I had it in my head, but
there are some character decisions that go in that I'm like, why would you do that? But why would you do it? I know it's not a spoiler review, but there's some characters, there's choices that I'm like, nah, that doesn't make sense to me. Do you know what I'm saying? And then that plays down, that hurts us down the line later on, but I didn't think it made sense at the beginning. But I know it's not a spoiler thing. But
everything else is like just on point. Like the directing, super good. I don't know if that was more Nia DaCosta or just help from, what do you call it? What's his, Jordan Peele, because obviously he produced the movie. Because there were very similar shots between this and Us. I'm like, that was in Us. Or what's the other one? Get Out. Get Out. And like, very similar kind of stuff.
I think it's a combination.
Yeah, maybe it's a combination.
Where you can see that movie and the way it's shot and well done, and then Nia DaCosta can come in, use that flavour to, do you know what I'm saying, to add more to what she wants to show in it. Or it might not be the case, but yeah, man, the shots were mad.
But even just the shots as well, the way, the sound, and I don't know if the soundtrack was very, I don't know, very, very, like, that was mixed well, basically. Because it will be like, something's happening, but you're just hearing bees, like, drumming up in the background, and it gets to a point where it's overpowering your senses, and then they just change the scene. And then it's like a whole new fresh thing, but you're like, whoa, what just happened? But then you gotta like quickly move on to this next scene as well. I thought that was really, really good, really well, because they leave you on a point where you're like, I wanna see what's happening more here. But they're like, nah, not today. We're gonna move on and we're gonna come back.
Go on.
One more point is, what was it? No, go on.
I just wanted to add on to your sound design. I do think the sound design in the movie is super legit, bro. But I also think that the movie could be improved if there was another 10 or 15 minutes. Like, the movie is a snug 90 minutes, like, do you know what I'm saying? And I understand horror, because it's a horror, you're like, bang, 90 minutes. But I felt like, because of how complex the characters was and the subject matter, you could have pushed it. You could have pushed it and given us a bit more deeper look into certain characters, certain aspects, and why certain things were done. Like, I felt like that was something that I wanted more of. Do you know what I'm saying? And also, like, they use this sick dynamic to tell stories of the past. Obviously, you see it in the trailer with like the silhouetted images, and then it shows you one of the characters doing that as a youth. I wish there was more of that in the movie.
Yes.
But this is what I'm talking about, the runtime, because I felt like it feels like, because when the movie ended, I was like, "Rah, this is the end." Like, I knew thematically it was the end because of what had happened.
Yeah.
But for me, like, time-wise, I didn't feel like we had spent enough time in the world, like, really expanding the thing, bruv. Like, so I was like, "Rah, man, there could have been more."
For me, it was weird because the movie is a very slow start. So it felt like the first couple of maybe 30 minutes, I was like, we still here? Like, what's going on? And I do feel like if they was to introduce what they were doing in the trailers with the whole generational thing, if they planted that
throughout the movie,
like you said, that would have maybe either helped the runtime or, like you said, flesh out to like 2 hours, because I was like, they only showed, I'm not going to spoil that much, but they only showed a certain amount of stories, and you're like, oh. But then they show you another thing, and like, there are so many of these stories, yet they don't really show you them. And I was going to say, the actual horror of this movie as well, it's got me all messed up. I just want to say that right now, yeah, because right the movie, like, you see it.
I want to hear this on the spoiler. Like, remember that to tell. I want to know.
Because like, obviously, I ain't seen horror in time, and I was like, horror don't really get me. Like, but no, the creepy moments, they're creepy in the movie. Like they you show on the screen, like, oh, that's pretty creepy. I'm at home now, yeah. There's a dark room. I just turn off the light, dark room. I'm walking down the hallway, and I hear, I'm like, what? No, that can't be Candyman, right? I'm like, nah.
Bro, nah, it's just...
Bro, I'm being shook in my room for a minute, bro.
It's your stairs that's been loose for the past 20 years, and all of us, like, you don't pay attention to it.
I'm just saying the movie's done well to do that, innit? Because I've been walking down dark hallways for, like, a moment, and then this movie shows, and I'm like, oh, crap. You know when you got that whole fear where, like, you're downstairs, all the lights are off, and then you turn off the light, and you run up and do that again, basically. Because I don't want to be in the darkness. No, after this movie, like I said, this movie's got to be a bit trippy, but I'm saying that's a good job, because if it's a horror movie and you're not doing that, either you got really good mental fortitude, or the movie didn't really do really well.
Is that like, I know people, I've seen memes about that. So that's an actual thing?
Bro, that's a thing. Who wants to be in the dark?
That's a real thing. And
you don't want to see what's coming after you.
There's bare people who don't watch horror movies in general because they'll have nightmares, that stuff plays on their mind, bro. That's just a thing.
That's mad, because I remember at some point, maybe in my like late teens, I would watch scary movies by myself in the dark. But the thing is, but don't get me wrong, I did have the thoughts of this thing, but then I would also tell myself, yo, that's just a movie. Do you know what I mean? So I like, okay, I'm watching the movie, there's a scene and it's dark, and obviously I'm in the room by myself in the dark, and then I would look back and have these thoughts, because obviously, like, you can't help yourself. But then I'll be like, no, shut up, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shut up, Raven. Like,
I said strong mental fortitude, you know what I mean? Some man ain't got that, bro.
Like,
some people don't, their minds don't
so I was telling myself, but I had to tell myself that, yo, like,
that's
you're
strong
just watching the movie. Like,
some people can separate this from reality.
From reality.
Some people can't.
And then, they'll just stay there.
I just didn't think of like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
the thing is, the real question is, are you going to go to a mirror and say Candyman 5 times now?
Hell no.
I told you guys I did that.
No, you did it 3 times because it doesn't work,
but
bro.
I was, but the thing is,
you was twanged your whole life thinking it was 3 times that Candyman was around.
Because I thought it was like, it was a thing, it was the right thing to say.
Yeah, but that's not summoning it.
Yeah, but
you got to summon it to summon
it.
But
I didn't do it 3 times, knowing that was 5 times.
No.
I did it 3 times because I thought, it was 3 times.
I'm not saying you don't have to.
I went and did it.
Bro.
So the action was there, innit? That I went to do.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not coming at your action. Yeah, man, know you was committed to doing it. But when you're committed to do it and doing it right, you know what I'm saying? The repercussions or non-repercussions are there, innit?
You're not gonna be in the room when I say it.
Bro,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in the room. Doesn't
No,
matter.
no, I'm just.
No, it does.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. You have to say
doesn't.
it. You have to say it.
Oh, you have to say it.
You have to say
Exactly,
it. Yeah.
bruv.
You have to
Do
say
what
it.
you want to do. I'm here. What, Ravens suspended? Bruv, I'm worried about the channel.
Oh no, then there's a. I don't want to say it in spoilers, but that's mad then.
But this is what, bro.
Alright, let's get to the spoilers. Let's get to the spoilers.
Guys, appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel, and yes, if you got anything to say down below, no spoiler, please. Did you enjoy it? Didn't you enjoy it? What's horror done for you? Are you glad this is here? I guess we'll see you on the next review. I'm Sam, Mr. Blitztech.
Revenue GS.
Joe, one further to Cybernerds.
Peace.